Welcome back to Harvesting Heritage. I'm Channing.
And I'm Shelley.
And we're sitting at what will soon be under a crepe myrtle tree, but it's the first year that I've had it here planted, and it's the first year that it's blooming, so it's made quite the beautiful vista.
I've been back in town, and we have spent the weekend deadheading and weeding and cleaning up the front and the backyard, so we thought we would take you along and show you what we've been doing.
Yeah, so it's August. I live in a zone 9B, but it's a little coastal. So August, finally we're seeing some heat, which means a lot of blooming items, and also things getting a little bit tired. So there was some cleanup. There was also some harvesting to do, and we did some planting. So come along, we're gonna give you a full garden tour today. All right, well, we're gonna start first in my front yard near where my porch is. We're currently underneath this beautiful Japanese maple. It is no longer the royal purple color that it was earlier in the year or that it will be later this year, but it is still gorgeous and very romantic to be able to walk underneath. This garden, you're gonna see that I have climbing jasmine, I have lamb's ear, some foxglove, and some coleus.
Look how I love how deep fuchsia, I guess.
Yeah, this is
The
called
coleus is?
watermelon coleus.
That's really pretty. Of course, I love the concrete bunnies.
We even have an iris that's come back to bloom. That's twice this year. These are yellow calla lilies, and I thought for sure they were goners, but I see I have 3 of them now. New to the garden this year is we added these yellow cannas, and they make such a bold impact against the blue of our house. I'm really enjoying that.
Of course, Labor Day's coming up, so you have your banners out. More of the cannas on this side. And what is this one?
This is a salvia. And I get a lot of questions and comments about this plant. It's called Angel's Wing Seneco. It doesn't need a lot of water. It's slightly succulent, but it's really bright from the street. So I think the combination of a little bit of purple, this yellow canna, and these Seneca angel wings is doing a great job for the front. Coming up the walkway, I'm loving how big these butterfly bushes are getting. We'll chop these down low to keep them about this size of a hedge. So between the butterfly bush, we also have a flowering oregano. I think Sean's ready to try something different there.
Why?
It's kind of not filling in great or dying out. These were original to the home, and so it might just be their time. Let's walk over to the redwood forest and see how that's doing.
The tater tots look good.
Since the last time you saw the redwood forest, we took down that giant pine tree, and it's really created a lot of additional space and some sunlight. I think there's several trees that will hopefully fill in now that they're not being attacked by this giant pine with its arms sticking out. But we also, every bit of the mulch that we have now is from that pine tree. So we've reused it, and we filled in almost the entire area. And you can see now very clearly where we're going to be putting down a pathway in the next year or so. we're going to do a wood walking pathway to kind of meander around this garden. So let's take a look.
You bought more of these yesterday.
Those are Mexican heather. The lilac, the white gladiolas did amazing. I'm so excited. In fact, I'm going to see about getting some more white gladiolas or different gladiolas and continuing to have big bunches in here. I think it adds a nice level of privacy as we're looking out to the main drive area. Sean loves African daisies, and this is a double, and it tends to deadhead itself, bury its dead, so that works okay. I'm really trying in this garden to have it be low maintenance as much as possible because we have a lot of maintenance in other areas. So anything that buries its dead or is perennial, so I only have to cut back once or twice a year, that's what we're looking for. Coming up to Florentina, Mom did some work for me today, and she added in her bucket this beautiful greenery. Thanks, Mom.
You're welcome.
We tried to plant actual plants in there, but the tip of her bucket means that we couldn't keep water in it. It would just pour out and all the soil would come out too. So fake it is, but I think we found good ones. Sean's pig is enjoying the shade.
What is this guy?
Astable. So that will be a pink astable. And out there is a snowball white viburnum. That plant out there will eventually be 12 foot tall by 12 foot. Really, we're trying to close off the view from the street and make this a romantic, kind of hidden, secret garden.
I'll show where the pine tree was.
So now we're walking into the pine tree area. I'll be the pine tree. Here. That was the stump, but his width was all the way over to this oak tree and to these two redwoods with the limbs going through it. So really probably up to 50 feet wide in diameter. Massive tree.
So the poor oak tree right there didn't get any light. The branches from that pine tree were going through it. So the arborists cut it, and they think that it will start growing towards these redwoods again. That it'll get full again, right?
Exactly. And then you can really see clearly on this redwood, see how it's empty on
Right
the
in
left
here. Yeah.
left side? That's because the pine tree limbs were going all the way through.
So you can see how huge that tree was. This oak tree has gotten enormous since it's gotten water and light. No, it doesn't like water, right?
The rule about oak trees is whatever environment they've been in, you need to keep it consistent. So if they've always received water, always water them. If they've never received water, do not start watering them. So we did not put irrigation to this oak tree. We did irrigate the redwoods because the redwoods desperately needed the water. So the roots of the oak are collecting water naturally because they go out quite a bit, but nothing directly on it. I want to show you, this is also a snowball white viburnum.
That thing?
Yes. So even when plants say and are labeled deer resistant,
No.
does not necessarily mean they're deer resistant. It's still alive, but it's going to take it a while for it to get full enough that the deer aren't coming to get it anymore. And our deer, they live up in this we don't own past the tree line here, but the deer just live in that creek.
That is why you have a fence all the way around your garden.
A deer fence, yes.
Yes, it's a deer fence because it has 2 wires up on top.
Yeah, so deer can't tell depth perception without a solid wood bar. And so if you add wire, it really does keep the deer out. Also within city limits, which we are, you're allowed a 6-foot fence, but wire isn't considered fence. So that gets us up to the 8-foot mark.
Okay, now we're at Channing's orchard.
So the first tree that we planted, these are all 1 year old now, is an apricot. And I did get 3 apricots off of this tree this year, so it's done fruiting, and they were really yummy. Next is my peach tree, and we got maybe 8 or 12 peaches that were small size this year, and it was the most beautiful tree, and I think it already knows that it needs to go to sleep. I have a great book that's coming. Mom and I both have a book that references what's wrong with my vegetable garden, with pictures around fertilization and disease and pests that we've found really useful. And I did just find out that that same author has made a fruit tree and tree care book, What's Wrong with My Orchard. And so that's coming in the mail. We'll put a link up so you can check that out if you're learning about how to keep an orchard too. This is Sean's plum, and it is supposed to be a mini tree, so we're gonna have to top it to make sure that it doesn't get too large for us. And we are a fully organic garden as much as possible, and so you will see that there's some bug damage, but nothing that's going to permanently hurt the tree.
Yeah, I see a bunch of holes in the leaves.
Yeah, so that book's coming, and then once we have winter here, we'll do pruning once the leaves fall, and then we'll do winter and spring spray, organic spray to help. But again, look how thick that trunk is. It's a year old. So it's happy.
Oh, look at your apples.
I see apples are starting to fall, so it might be time to start. They're a little smaller this year than last year. It's because I gave it a really hard prune. But here's a shined up apple. Just beautiful. Let's give it a taste.
Sweet?
They're ready. It's kind of like a Honeycrisp meets a green apple, so there is a little tartness to it. It makes a wonderful applesauce that's a sweet applesauce that you don't have to add any sugar to.
Are you gonna make baby food out of your apples?
Of course I am. My nephew's already eating my applesauce. Our green pear tree, and no signs of fruit on it, but it looks really very healthy. No bug damage, so high hopes that next year it might start fruiting for us. A second apple tree.
Wow.
It's time to come picking. And then finally, this is our cherry tree. So for our cherry tree, it's the only one that we've had an arborist come out and confirm that it may grow kind of bushy from the bottom, but the center stalk has definitely died. Sean and I are considering this winter if we don't take it out and try something different.
And the cages are all for the deer.
Yes, the young trees need to have cages. The apple trees, we get so much that I'm happy to share with them. And any of the apples that fall on the ground, my girlfriend that lives across the street, she has a horse and horse stables, and we just send them over to there, and they enjoy those quite a bit. All right, let's take a look at the pool area. I think the best part I can show you right now is the dahlias.
I have the names of all of these.
Oh, good. Get the double flower on that.
Oh, these little pom-poms are cute.
Do you know that this is a cafe au lait?
Oh goodness, look at how huge that thing got. Did it flower?
No, not yet. So last year we got our first frost right when it decided to bud up. This is a tree dahlia.
Any buds
No.
on it?
No
Look
sign.
at how wide this thing is. It's crazy. Do you cut it back or is that just...
You can see where we cut it last year.
Wow. So you cut it back and it grew all that large but no
Mhm.
dahlias.
Right.
Huh.
And these are silverberry
Super bells?
super bells. Yep. A Valencia orange, which is looking very green. We had so much water this spring that the oranges are just very pithy. But you can see that I'm getting my spring crop is starting to come in as well. So you have new and old at the same time on that tree. Clementine tangerine, Forte avocado, which is doing a lot better. We planted the Forte because it can handle the cooler temperatures, and it also is the pollinator for the Hass avocado. The Hass avocado does not like how cold it gets here, but we're gonna give it a try.
Looking pretty good.
And then I'm
Oh,
really
and the
excited.
fig.
Well, this is I think even the 5th year that we've had this fig tree. We only planted it in the ground last year. It was in a pot before. And sure enough, I have figs coming.
A lot of them. Look at
Mhm.
them. There's figs everywhere.
Uh-huh.
That's exciting. I'm coming back to eat those.
Yum, yum. And another one that they say is not perennial in my area, and yet it came back this year, is this rhubarb. I think that's new. Gopher found his way over here. Artichokes are coming back, so we cut those all down to the ground in our last video, I think.
Yeah.
And sure enough, they're coming back. We'll get another stand of artichokes this year. Hi, girls! Chickens are molting right now, so eggs are a little bit low. Now we're swinging around to the raised garden bed area. This dahlia here, the blooms actually will get to be about that big. It's really neat.
Is this star jasmine?
It is. So that's a bushing star jasmine, whereas the one in the front is a vining star jasmine.
I didn't know you planted that.
Yeah.
Was that for me?
It was for you. In an area where you won't sit and smell it. The rose arch is looking beautiful. These are Marguerite David Austin roses. And it has been blooming all year. Really amazing. Pots on either side. So I have spearmint, chocolate mint, more spearmint, just a variety of different mints, and I'm making sure to keep them in pots so they don't take over everywhere, but mint tea is my favorite, so that's what we use that for. And then my closest bed to the house is my herb garden. And it's doing well. I just reseeded parsley. I could use some more parsley. And I'm waiting for my cutting celery, is the item we use the very most, to come back. That needed to be cut. And I've got rosemary, thyme, marjoram, lovage, tarragon, oregano, chives, a little bit of parsley. And dock.
Tomatoes.
There's some cherry or plum tomatoes, underplanted with basil, red runner beans are
Oh.
finally.
That's what my basil looks like. Just teeny this year. Last year was so big.
Red runner beans, which are really pretty when they bloom, and then they grow these kind of furry, different looking beans. They're really good sauteed on blistered on a pan. And then I've got another stand of lettuce coming in, and then this is all planted up. We're gonna try for some green beans. Kohlrabi and dill, and some cilantro coming in. This is our squash area, so these are delicata. You can see we're starting to get quite a few. We like to do smaller sized, like single eating ones, since it's just Sean and me most of the time. We've been picking on the onions. They are still growing, so there's still hope that we'll have a nice onion harvest. That's a mix of Walla Walla candy and Red Floyd.
I haven't heard of Red Floyd before.
Just red onions, medium day red onions. And then another succession of lettuce and basil. My summer squash is finally coming in. Planted in some bok choy. And this is my cherry tomato area. The tomatoes are starting to come on. No, it's August, that sounds crazy, but it's just so cold here that our harvest comes pretty late. I have cucumbers finally coming. Yes, in August I still have not gotten a single cucumber, but there is a little baby there. So I will have a cucumber soon. And on this side, I just restarted gherkin cucumbers. I'm really hopeful I get enough gherkin cucumbers to do some pickled sweet gherkins. And then this is my kind of winter carrot area. So we just seeded that this weekend, was carrots.
What are these? What's that funky looking thing?
That's a Jimmy Nodello pepper. So I have ancho poblano, Jimmy Nardellos, and banana peppers. They're starting to grow. Some dino kale, another kohlrabi, and basil. This is mammoth basil, which I really is really
basil
fun.
I like.
Have that big long piece. And then on this side, these are all jalapenos.
And Mama, I have a ground cherry.
Yeah, that's
Unfortunately, it's baby.
Compare that to Mom's. Maybe Mom put a picture of your ground cherry. Mine was started before yours.
Yeah.
So these are my slicing tomatoes. I think Brandywine, Paul Robeson, Cherokee tomato, or Cherokee purple, Amish, and then a mortgage lifter. I mean, look how small these mortgage lifters are.
Yeah. Ours are done for the season. Yours are just
starting. Yeah. Some ragged jack kale that's been going since the spring, and that'll just get sweeter as the season continues. I planted up this area. We'll have spinach. Those big snow peas I was talking about got put on this trellis where the tomatillos were. And then on this side, I put, what did I put? Oh, 2 different kinds of spinach around the snow peas. Some more cherry tomatoes.
Oh, tell us about what's going on here.
So this is my artichoke patch. It's only the second year that we've had them, so we left a lot. We didn't harvest hardly anything. So they go to seed and then they'll brown, and then you cut them back down to the ground. But this is how it collects energy, is to feed their roots. I think Sean's most excited about this honey nut butternut squash that he's training up the trellis, and I'm just thrilled that we have something that's actually going to make it over the trellis this year. Depending on how we like these. And this is about the size they get, and then they turn kind of a golden orange color. Depending on how much we like those, this might have to be a repeat forever. And then I did notice these are all of our bell peppers, and we are getting signs of fruit. Little itty bitty fruit, which means I might get a bell pepper still this year.
Those are fun.
I have melons in my garden. On this side we have 3 watermelons and some radishes that I just started, and cilantro. And on this side, tucked underneath the squash that's growing up so big, I have a honeydew and a cantaloupe. We might still get something this year. Here is our giant pumpkin, and got a little tiny itty bitty pumpkin, so we'll see. We have 2 more months for it to grow before Thanksgiving or October, so maybe we'll get a pumpkin. And then our corn patch is going. We'll get something, but maybe not a ton.
But your strawberries are fabulous.
And I just harvested gallons, and they're already, I see, more. Yeah, I got a 2-gallon bag 2 days ago, and there's still more that I missed. I guess that's dessert. Oh, here's another one. Oh, that could wait till tomorrow. Yeah, nothing.
Let's go down to your berry patch.
Okay.
Oh, what is that thing?
Sunflower.
Did you
Sean
plant
did it.
that, or is that voluntary?
No, Sean put an entire row of sunflowers along the back. So first coming into the garden, there's 2 pots on either side, and those are my blueberries. So I have a lemonade blueberry and then a traditional. They're pretty small. Oops. At this point. And wrapping around here, another blueberry. The coleus is very happy, obviously. red raspberries, a green eating grape, which Mom trellised up for me. Then we get some blackberries and boysenberries. Here and here. We added a golden raspberry at the end, which doesn't have anything to trellis on it, but we're gonna go with it anyway. And that loops us back to the end of the garden.
I like what is this? That's really pretty. Because it's chartreuse with the purple, it really shines.
And that loops us back to where we started, over by the crepe myrtle tree. Thanks for joining us. If you like this video, consider subscribing and definitely give us a like.
And until next time,
And until next time, we hope you have a joy-filled day.